Many of the minimum property requirements, or MPRs, that come up on appraisal reports can easily be detected and mitigated prior to the appraiser visiting the property. In fact, as an agent, I always see that it's in my buyer's best interest to look out for and mitigate any potential concerns well before the appraiser gets there. See, if an appraiser marks an MPR repair request as a requirement of a loan, then it holds up the loan process until those repairs have been taken care of. So let's walk virtually through a home here for a moment and talk about common MPRs that can easily be taken care of long before an appraiser gets there. Chipped and peeling paint. It's going to be obvious, especially if the home was built before 1978. If it's exterior paint, or if it's paint around door frames and windows, it's most likely going to be lead-based paint. But if the home was built before 1978, any type of chipping and peeling paint can become an issue. Just have the homeowner scrape it, clean it up, paint it long before the appraiser gets there. One that hasn't been mentioned in any of the prior videos, handrails. Any staircase that has 3 steps and a landing, so up 3 steps, landing, does not require a handrail. 4 steps and a landing, up 4 steps, flat surface, will require that a handrail be put in according to local code and height. That means staircases going down. In many older homes, the staircases are narrow and handrails have been removed. Handrail must be up as part of a safety concern. Another common one actually has to do with the roof. Again, hasn't been mentioned specifically, but the roof is part of safe, sound, and sanitary. Appraiser is going to have to look at it and, in their opinion, determine if there are 5 to 7 functioning years remaining on the roof, so that the buyer isn't moving into a home that they're looking at an immediate expense of having to replace a roof. Now, the roof is going to be inspected in much greater detail during an inspection, and if it shows signs of potentially being a repair request, take care of it then. As I mentioned in the environment, negative slope, or water that runs toward the home. Landscaping is the most common cause of this. Flower beds that have been allowed to settle, grass that's been allowed to settle, dogs that have dug holes around the basements or around the sides of the home, concrete that's been poured right up to the edge of the home that doesn't drain away from the home, rain gutters or downspouts on rain gutters that only come down a minimum of, and then water puddles right up against the home. It doesn't have any kind of spout to move the water away from the home. Just watch to make sure that there is not puddling against the home. And finally, trip hazards. The most common trip hazards in yards are lifted or broken and settled concrete. Make sure that while there may be some settling in flat work of concrete, that it's not such an extent that you can trip over it. Common rule of thumb that I use is I simply walk over and put my toe against it. If the cement is higher than the top of my toe, it could be considered a trip hazard. If it's a minor settling, it may not be considered a trip hazard.